with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
The air hung heavy as evening moved into twilight, and twilight faded into true night. A strange wind passed through Obendar, bringing with it the scent of rotting moss and ancient stone. Even the stars dimmed their twinkling, and the moon hid her face behind a soot-dark cloud. Yet all slept soundly, never dreaming of what would await them on the morrow. "Well, what is it?" Gilly asked, eyeing the thing that had stolen into Obendar sometime in the night. "Well," Tink squinted as he examined it, "I don't rightly know. It doesn't have many knobs or buttons, does it?" "Let's just smash it and be done with it." Tantrum crossed his arms and glared, daring anyone to disagree with him. "Wait!" Boomer said, her eyes lighting up. "Instead of smashing it, why don't we blow it up?" She could almost see the lovely scarlet and vermilion flames such an explosion would paint the boring old field with. It was beautiful. Nugget frowned and nudged the thing with her boot. She had read something somewhere, she was certain. There must be something in ancient DeLorean lore that spoke of tortoise. She snapped her fingers as she remembered a scrap of forgotten lore. A tortoise of light! The assembled Gearlocks eyed the thing with renewed interest. "What is a tortoise?" Boomer asked, the words slipping strangely off her tongue. "But more importantly, do they explode?" Gilly cocked his head to the side. Now that he was really looking, the thing looked more like a giant turtle, whose head, legs, and tail had all gone missing. There was the matter of the strange runes carved upon the shell, though. The shapes twisted and shivered every time he thought he'd got a lock on them. No matter how hard he tried to read them, they tried just as hard to remain unread. "What is a tortoise of light exactly?" he asked. His stomach grumbled, and he wondered if it tasted anything like turtle soup. He hoped so. Nugget frowned at the wisp of the memory that refused to come into focus. "They're messengers, I think. Maybe." She sighed. The one thing she knew for certain was that they weren't treasure, and they didn't lead to one. "If it's a messenger, then why isn't it messaging?" Tantrum asked irritably. Sleep had largely eluded him last night, leaving him feeling like his insides had been rubbed raw with the rough bark the village elder used to grow his collection of moss on. "Perhaps it needs a small adjustment," Tink suggested as he reached for his tool belt. "To turn it on or something?" Nugget frowned. There was something important she was forgetting. Her dreams had been tangled with hungry shadows and angry stones. So while she'd slept, she'd woken up feeling like she'd been battling those shadows and stones the entire night. "Maybe if I just slip my Giffelock in through here and—" "Hey!" Tink shouted, jerking his hand away from the opening. He stared helplessly at the tip of the Giffelock's handle, which was all that remained visible of his beloved tool. "Stop shouting!" Tantrum yelled, stomping his foot and covering his ears. "My humblest apologies," Tink said. The last thing he wanted was for Tantrum in the middle of his workshop. He'd only just got the pieces laid out for his newest bot design. "But something grabbed my Giffelock." Boomer frowned at the tortoise. "Do you think something's inside?" I could probably remove it. She rubbed her hands together, imagining all the glorious booms she could make. They'd have to be small booms, of course, but that just made the challenge all the more interesting. Maybe your Giffle, what's it, got caught on something. Gilly bent closer to get a better look. He took hold of the handle and gave an experimental jiggle. When nothing exploded, broke, or bit him, he wiggled a little more. Please be careful, Tink said, tugging on the edges of his tunic. That particular Giffle lock had been expensive, but well worth the price. The handle, over time, had become accustomed to his hand, well enough that the soft padding along the handles had shaped themselves perfectly. No need to tell me to be careful, Gilly said, an intense look of concentration on his face, as he jogged the handles against whatever had the rest of the tool in a deathlock hold. Just a little more, yes. And now. With a spring, the Giffle lock flew out of Gilly's hand, ricocheted off the wall, and smacked the lamp on the table. The glass around the lamp shattered on impact, and the teeny lamp inside the broken glass Tink had tinkered into being the light source gave an ominous crunching sound, and then went out. The workshop was plunged into darkness, but before any of the gearlocks could panic, a curious thing happened. The runes that had been carved into the surface of the tortoise's shell came to life, glowing a vivid blue that cast light and shadow into a hodgepodge of mystery. Oh, Nugget said. That's why it's called the Tortoise of Light. It's gotta be dark first. Gilly pinched the bridge of his nose. It hadn't been easy, being the leader of their heroic band, more so when they helpfully stated the obvious. Any idea what it does? Or is it just some kind of glorified nightlight? Nugget canted her head to the side, studying the swirls of light in the shell, while Tink reclaimed his Gifflecog and examined it for damage. It gives you a message from the Sage of Obendar. Nugget gave him a funny look. What else would it do, really? Now that he was certain his Gifflecog had come to no harm, Tink was ready to learn how the Tortoise of Light worked. How does it receive the message? Is it encoded somewhere? Is it animal, vegetable, or mineral? Do you think it would be possible to combine it with something else? Say, a new kind of bot that's never been made before. He glanced covertly at the pieces of a bot-to-be he'd laid out on the table early that morning. Can we hit it? Gilly sighed. No hitting, Tantrum. At least not until we extract the message this Sage of Obendar sent us. He turned to Nugget. Who in the heck is this supposed sage supposed to be? Where do you think the elders get their information? Nugget bent down and traced her fingers lightly over the glowing runes. They were right about Nom, and maybe, she pressed down on the runes, in what looked like a suspiciously random order. Once pressed, each section of shell sank down, causing the remaining section to glow brighter. Nugget, are you sure? Shush. I know exactly what I'm doing, she laughed triumphantly as she pressed the final piece down. A moment later, the tortoise exploded. "Aw, yeah," Boomer shouted. Or rather, the light of the runes exploded. They flew outward before resembling in a letter that floated gently before them. Dear heroes of Obendar, Gilly read, blinking away the spots of light dancing through his vision.
That's us!
Boomer jumped in place and clapped her hands in excitement. Heh! Tantrum grunted, but he looked pleased despite himself. Well, I'll be... Tink scratched his head and wondered if there was enough of whatever it was to reverse engineer the Tortoise of Light. And then, if that proved successful, he could create a whole army of glowing bots that exploded in their enemies' faces. He could have Tantrum help him come up with some taunts. "The treasure better be good," Nugget muttered, crossing her arms. She had plenty of treasure squirreled away from their last adventure against that despicable Nom, but a Gearlock could never have enough treasure. Gilly shook his head before continuing. "I am afraid I come to you with grim news. While the atrocities of the Ebon who rule Daylor to the north are not uncommon, there has been dissension among their ranks of late. In particular, the Goblin King has sworn to unite all of Daylor beneath his terrible fist. You must beware, for the Goblin King is not a threat to be taken lightly. He has ruled over Warspire for many years, and all who follow him fear his wrath, and so are loyal beyond all measure. He is a crafty foe, and an unpredictable one at that. You must venture forth, as the heroes of old, defeat the tyrant in his lair, lest he bring ruin and war upon us all. We, who are the free of Daylor, beg you to put a swift and just end to this bitter foe. Make haste. I fear that his minions are already on the move. If you are to arrive in time to squash its crown, you must leave as the first rays of the sun light up the horizon. Be safe. Heroes of Daylor, we are all counting on you." Having delivered its message, 5 wrinkly appendages appeared in the opening of the tortoise of light shell. It blinked ponderously at them before stretching its rather long neck up and devouring the glowing runes. Gilly looked nervously at Nugget. "Is it supposed to do that?" She shrugged, disappointed that there had been no mention of treasure. "Oh, maybe it'll explode again," Boomer said hopefully. But alas, it was not to be. Now that it had been well fed, the tortoise retracted its limbs and went back to sleep. "So what are we going to do?" Gilly gestured to the slumbering tortoise. Tantrum chuckled. "What we do best. We're going to smash the monsters and then the king." "I think I have just the bots." Tink tapped his chin thoughtfully as he wandered over to where his precious bots were sleeping. Gilly raised a brow. It hadn't been this easy to persuade them before. "Are you sure?" "Ah, yeah!" Boomer punched the air, grinning. "We get to blow up bad guys." "Just don't damage the treasure," Nugget said. "Finders keepers." "All right," Gilly said, once he was certain they were all more or less in agreement. "How should we do this?" "Only 12 hours till dawn and the send-off ceremony. That will no doubt change the lives of every remaining Gearlock and likely every life in Daylor. Weapons and supplies are ready to go, but the night is young and adrenaline fills the veins. It's clear no sleep will be had tonight. There's sure to be some shady peddlers in dark alleys ready to deal in loot. Then again, some last-minute training could pay a nice dividend by morning. So what to do? What to do? "I want some training points," Tink said happily, dreaming of all the bots he was going to build. "Me too." Boomer stretched her fingers and checked her pouches to figure out what ingredients she was low on. Gilly said, eyeing the possibilities of loot with a little more interest than was good for him. Nugget pulled him aside. "Yeah, it looks nice. And what could be more perfect than all those peddlers wandering through town practically giving it all away?" Gilly shook his head. He couldn't imagine anything more perfect. Nugget snorted. "Did you happen to notice all the little locks on the loot? We'd have to waste valuable time trying to pick the locks when we could be training instead." "Oh." Gilly's face fell a little. "I don't want locked loot." Nugget patted him on the back. She'd only told the littlest of fibs, and it was for his and all their own good. She did not want to relive their first adventure, even if all that beautiful shiny loot was just sitting there, practically begging to be taken home with her. Training it is, then, Nugget said with no small satisfaction. Wait, Tink said. We have to suit up first. Sorry, Gilly said sheepishly. I forgot. Boomer dug through her pouch until she found her correct dice, element, casing, fuse, and boom counter, because she fully intended to cause as many booms as possible. Tink shuffled about his workshop until he located his bot build 1.0 along with his Spiderbot 1.0. I'm ready. Tantrum frowned as he located his rage die. Gilly and Nugget just shook their heads. We've got nothing. Then let's get training. Boomer, hoping to not repeat the major injuries she'd incurred on their last adventure, raised her health by 1. 4 health was still fairly weak, but she was just getting started. She also took her chances and rolled to increase her attack by 1. Yes! She punched the air again. At attack of 2, she could now hit twice as hard. Tantrum opted for building his health and dexterity. 5 health was nothing to sneeze at this early in the adventure, and now he'd upped his dexterity from 3 to 4. Those bad things were going down. Gilly used one of his training points to summon a falcon because, at the end of the day, flying was cool and that's all that mattered. But he also wanted to survive this adventure, so he increased his pitiful 0 defense to a slightly less pitiful defense of 1. Now that he'd gotten started, Tink also picked up his Spiderbot 2.0 and upped his health from 3 to 4. No use in taking chances, and he wanted to give his bots their best chance at survival. Nugget, the ever practical, raised her health from 4 to 5 and increased her dexterity from 3 to 4. She had plans, every one of them which included lots and lots of beautiful loot, and she wanted to be sure she was around to enjoy them once everything quieted down. Well, Gilly said, let's get out there and smite some monsters. Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me, neither. But that was the story of our Too Many Bones campaign, Rolling with the Leafs, Season 2, Episode 1 of Too Many Bones. I hope you all enjoyed it. What are your thoughts, feelings, concerns, or questions you might have? Go ahead and shoot us an email at gamerelief@gamereliefgo.com or send us a Facebook message at Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We love to hear from you what you thought about that, if you liked it better. It was actually written by a true author, as I am not one, but Lady Leaf wrote that story. I read it. Not the best at it, but we'll get better, and I really liked it. I thought it was epic. Well, let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear what you thought about it. And now, you know what time it is, don't y'all?
It's time for Kickstarter Corner. To begin now.
You heard her. It's now time for Kickstarter Corner. Make sure, if you want to support Getting Geeky with Game Relief or continue to see great games on our Kickstarter Corner, make sure if you want to back these or you like these games, go ahead and click on the link that we leave in our show notes. It would be much appreciated to both us and the creators of these great games. So first off, we've got Swords and Souls by Fridge Crisis Games. Earn your escape from the underworld by fighting your former friends in this fast-paced combat card game. Get ready to get aggressive. This project goes through the 22nd of March. And then we've also got Dungeon Allies, complete with 5 full sets of dungeon dice. It's a worker placement game where dungeon dice are the workers. This is by Mark Haney of Joe Magic Games. Once again, we will be having a great interview. It'll be different from him. I will go ahead and get on that. I'll get on that right after I get done with this. Then we've also got Lexicons of Dueling Japanese Katana, a simple and complete card game that simulates martial combat in a most ingenious manner. This is almost done with funding. They've got about 6 days to go. Well, about 4 or 5. They end on Saturday, the 3rd of March. So check it out. We did a review of some of their other decks, and this one looks like it will be fun and exciting too. So make sure you check that out. Then we've got Creatures of Vathis, Volume 1, D&D 5th Edition, and Pathfinder. Creatures of Vathis Volume 1 is a 150-page bestiary compatible with both the D&D 5th Edition and the Pathfinder role-playing game. Check it out on the Kickstarters. They go till Saturday the 3rd of March as well, so definitely check that one out. Then we've got Centrix, a spinning, jumping, bumping 3D tabletop game. It's a fun, friendly, frantic, unique multi-level game. Players use card combinations in rotating rings to unlock the best route to the top. And we actually had the 2 designers of this on the show, so you will be, well, actually I had an interview with them this weekend, so you'll be able to hear them hopefully this week, so wait for that. And make sure you go ahead and click the link and check out their Kickstarter page. It is an awesome game. And then we've got Kami-sama, a game of Japanese spirits for 2 to 4 players, featuring asymmetrical powers, area control, and beauty on a unique rotating board. They keep edging up. Last time, I believe they were still in the 30,000s. Now they're in the 40,000s. They're at 41,309. And they go through the 11th of March, right at the end of the campaign. I accidentally lied to you, but we will have somebody from Colossal Games on next week. So listen for that. And then, yeah, make sure if you like that, or you like Western Legends, check this one out too. It's by Colossal Games. And then we've got Animal Elements, the wild miming game. It's a gorilla with brain freeze, a hyena with a hangover. Act out ridiculous combinations in a hilarious family-friendly party game. Yeah, check this one out as well. There's an excellent story that starts off the interview with Alex we had. Not mine, sillies. You'll have to listen to find out. But anyways, this has been Getting Geeky with Game Relief. If you liked what you heard here, I hope you did. Let us know. And always, reviews are welcome. But anyways, thanks for joining us on Rolling with the Leafs, Season 2, Episode 1. Join us for our next adventure. We try to do these on Mondays. So come back every Monday. And if you want to find out about other Kickstarter games, come to our Kickstarter creation, which we do every Wednesday. We might have a little bit extra treats for you this week. And then Fridays are Family Fun Day Fridays, in which we review games. We've also got some exciting stuff coming at you on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, but you're going to have to hold your horses. And this has been Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into the geek fold. And we'll catch you all on the, you guessed it, flip side. Peace out. Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.